Hello guys and welcome to a brand new video. Today I'm here with Vigilante, My Hero Academia Illegals, episode number 6 reaction. Okay, the previous episode, we had a brief section where we got to know about Pop Steph's story, her past. Turns out she was actually saved by Koichi when she was a kid and she fell into like a little bit of a water body, and Koichi was like getting late for giving an exam. He stopped. He saved her, and at that point, he didn't realize that it was her. Now he doesn't realize now that that was her because he thought that was a boy, and he gave Pop Step his jacket, one of the All Might hoodies that he loved, like one of the limited version ones that he was wearing back then, and Pop Step have kept it, and she's a little bit frustrated that Koichi didn't realize that it was her, and Koichi mistook him for her for a boy, and she wanted to tell him, but then later on, like she realized that Knuckle Duster was there, so she couldn't really say anything. Either way, that was a nice little, like like a flashback we had, and then we had the second half where we get to meet Sandal. I think that was his name. He's like another vigilante. However, later on we get to know he's more extreme. He actually takes matter in his own hands, takes law in his own hands, and like takes out the person. Unlike Koichi, who literally like thinks about the villain, you know, and thinks about like what's going to put him in trouble. Unlike that, he's just extreme, and we see him take out one of the other villains, and we have Hachisuka come in contact with him. So yeah, let's see what happens. Let us begin. I'll be putting the subtitles and the timer here. Sync it to whichever is a preference, and let's get started. Okay, here's the countdown. 3, 2, 1, go. What is this? A Yakuza group? Yeah, okay. I saw his dress and I was like, yeah, he's a Yakuza. Damn. Damn, this guy's. Hmm. Huh, damn. No drunk driving. Damn. Abegawa Tenchi. Yeah, but now with the villains. Okay. Whoa! Is this. Damn, this to the tank. Whoa! Manhole? What the hell? Wait! He licked the blood, right? That's standard, right? Yeah. Oh my god! Hey! Okay. Yep, Stendhal. Oh wow, they just introduced them to kill them off. Fantastic. Wait. Oh my god. There is that guy. Hmm, interesting. Hmm. Crossing lines, right. Yeah, these all of them are in the picture, so everyone's getting targeted here. Yeah. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I don't think it's because of that. Also, I feel like these will be harmful later on down the line. Some kind of side effect. Yeah. Well, at least he's understood that, you know. Yeah. Hmm. Okay, interesting. Yeah, this girl is playing both the sides. Crazy. Oh no, Standal is here. Right. Yeah, she's gonna give him the trigger. Oh, yeah, Standal was like, nah. Right? Oh no, he. Oh, he was the one who. Okay, okay. She's using her beat. Oh, forcefully. Great. These bees have the thing, right? Yeah, I was gonna say. Damn. Right. Yeah, he's just completely lost all faith from. Ah. Oh, coach is here. Okay. Bro, you saw what happened. What are you on about? Oh my god, he. Yeah, it's him. Yeah. No, he didn't. He got. Yeah, I don't think he operates like that. Oh boy. Yeah, damn. Oh, you use your. Oh, I guess he cannot while carrying him. I was gonna say use your. Oh boy. Oh, okay, yeah. Now he's in contact. So. Oh no, he got the blood. Is he like I will? Oh my god. A little bit more. God damn it, we're still in the alleys. Blood curdle. Hmm. Is Knuckle Duster going to come? Yep, he did. I was going to say. Oh, he dodged it. Oh my god. Right. Nice. Damn, that was cool. Hmm. Oh boy, this is going to be interesting. Oh wow. Not really. Our goal, yeah, I was going to say. Crazy slasher. Damn. Wow. Right. Hmm. Oh yeah, he has his wire. Oh. Punch. Yeah, he's gonna fall back. Or not. Nah, nah, he's locked in. Oh, he crossed it himself. Yeah, he never said he's not going to cross it. Yeah, that threw him off because he wasn't expecting him to come out in front. All right, let's see his face. What? Bruh, who cares? Come on. Yeah, there you go. We're not really heroes, we're vigilantes. Oh no. Hmm. Wow. It is him. I was like, that's Stain, right? I don't know. Okay, wait a minute. I was thinking that. Oh no, he got his blood. He got his blood. Nah, we have to end him quickly. As when he was licking the blood, and I was like, yeah, is this Stain? But I was like, how is? Oh, Yeah, he got stabbed in his leg. Right. Right. Yeah, well, you tell me. Right. Oh boy, here we go. Oh boy, this girl's back again. Oh my god. Right. Well, it's not a problem. She doesn't have, you know, yeah. His eyes like her eyes like injured or something, or like the bees go inside. So I think it's like empty over here. God damn. It is him, right? Or am I tripping? That is Stain, right? Yeah. There you go. Stain. This is why he's gonna take his name, Stain. Stain. Blood stain. Okay, now I'm still not 100% sure, but I'm assuming that it's supposed to be the Stain that we see in My Hero Academia. So he went with the name Stendhal. From the very beginning, when he was like, when I saw his tongue and the way he was speaking, I was like, wait a minute, is this Stain? But then I was thinking like, I was like, yeah, if this is Stain, that means like it did kind of align properly because when we saw Stain in My Hero Academia, he, like obviously he was talking about like justice and everything. Here as well, he has like a very different sense of justice, so that aligned properly. The way he looks, his way he speaks, his tongue, him licking the blood, all those things also kind of aligned properly. So I was like, this must be Stain, right? But I don't know, I just didn't, up until when he took out his mask and we can see his face properly. I was like, yeah, I still couldn't believe it that this is Stain. Okay, you know what? Yeah, let's see, because I'm saying that he's Stain, but maybe I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that is someone else. But no, that must be Stain. Come on. Okay, that's it. One thing I will have to make sure here, I'm going to do that, is that I forgot what Stain's quirk was. I actually forgot completely. So, I need to check that. So everything will come to, like light then. Stain quirk. Let me check. Stain quirk. Um, what is Stain's quirk? Blood curdle. There you go. Right. All right. There you go. That is Stain. Yeah, I would have very easily would have come to the conclusion this is Stain if I remembered what Stain's quirk was. I actually completely forgot what it was. So when I saw Stendhal doing that, in my head I was like, this looks a lot like Stain, but I still couldn't properly come to that conclusion because I completely forgot what Stain's quirk was. It's been a while we've seen in My Hero Academia, right? And in My Hero Academia, we literally get like one season every year, or every something like that. So back when we saw Stain was quite a few years ago. So I just don't remember much about his quirk. I did remember he used to lick his like he used to lick the knife that he used to use. That I remembered very well, and his tongue was like a like a weird one. That I remembered. So that's why in the back of my head it was like I was like, okay, this seems like Stain. Even also the fact that he missed, like he didn't have like a nose and everything. I don't know. But unless and until I confirmed what his quirk was, I couldn't properly say. But yeah, now that I've confirmed, Stain's quirk is bird curdle as well. That is Stain. Wow, interesting. Like I love how we're getting like we're seeing characters that are that we'll see in My Hero Academia as well. And we've already met Aizawa. Who else have we met? Ingenium. Like Ida's brother. We not Ida. Sorry, both of them are Ida. Tenya's brother. And we didn't really get to know much about Tenya's brother back then, but in My Hero Academia. But now here we can we're getting to know more about him, and we'll probably see him later down the line as well. I'm assuming we're going to get to see Midnight as well because she's literally in the opening. There's another dude that we see who I'm not really sure who he is. He I don't know. He looks very like a like she's like smiling and everything. He looks a lot like All Might. I don't know who he is, but like yeah, that's another character that we'll probably meet. So it's interesting to see them. We also saw All Might briefly, Endeavor, and all of the other heroes as well. So I'm guessing we'll probably meet them briefly as well later on down the line. But I wasn't expecting to see Stain. But it makes sense because back then in My Hero Academia, Stain it was like there. But here we can see Stain is a lot more extreme than in My Hero Academia. Stain was also quite extreme, but I don't know, he had a little bit of a different vibe from now. Now he's like completely crazy, it seems like he's like talking to himself, he's like going like yeah. So maybe something will happen here in this show that will probably, obviously, that like he will still continue in this path in My Hero Academia. We see that as well, but maybe it'll kind of settle him down a little bit more because here he looks full on crazy. Like you saw what was going on later on. He was just going like But yeah, it's been a while since I've seen Stain, so I couldn't really remember him that much. So it took me a while to properly realize like that this was Stain. Um, right. Also, the fact that he was literally wearing a mask and using like a katana. That's why. And he had like long hair. I don't think Stain had long hair in My Hero Academia, right? Or did he? I cannot remember. Um, but yeah, good thing that we were able to come and stop Stain's rampage, or as he calls himself here, Stendhal. What does Stendhal mean? Does that have a meaning? Wait a minute. Stendhal meaning. Stendhal syndrome. What? What is this? A condition where someone experiences intense physical and mental symptoms like rapid heartbeat, dizziness, and confusion when exposed to art or beauty. What? Okay, I wasn't expecting something like that. That is interesting. Okay. Hmm. But yeah, you can see he was kind of like, getting like dizzy. He was getting like symptoms and everything. Maybe that's why his name is Stendhal. And then later on in the end, we see he talks about like how the blood stains will see from, like he was like talking about a lot of things back then down there. But yeah, I guess from that he takes his name as Stain, maybe like the stain in the, you know, something like that. I don't know. Right. Yeah, and as always, like, as you know, like in My Hero Academia, Stein was a very interesting character because he wasn't really like an antagonist in that sense. Like, yeah, he was an antagonist, but he was more of a like an extreme type of a character. Like you remember, like I remember him in My Hero Academia talking about like how people like All Might and also Deku, I guess, as well, are like worthy of being heroes, and like all the other heroes are just they're just like greedy, like people who work for money and all that. He had this whole thing in My Hero Academia. I remember properly. I think like the only people he kind of acknowledged was All Might, and then later on Deku as well in a certain sense because Deku was a lot like All Might. Um, but he had this whole extreme view of heroes as well, but that doesn't really mean he's against heroes. Like, yeah, he is, but like he's like a tricky type of a character. Like he takes like a justice in his hands type of, like like an anti-hero or whatever you call her. You know so yeah, that was basically him. And here you can see it's like the kind of like the same thing, because obviously he at the beginning he was ready to cooperate with Koichi, because he was like, oh, like this like this evil villain is in front of us, stand back, I'll take care of him. Like he in the previous episode as well, when Koichi was fighting the other villain, he came and helped us out, when Koichi was almost going to get hurt. So yeah, as you can see, he's not really, you know, yeah, he's basically like a villain who's not really, no, he's like a villain who hunts down villains, like basically like that. So as long as his intentions align with ours, he's fine with you. Like yeah. And that is also the reason why you can see, even though he was cool with Koichi at the beginning, obviously later on when Koichi decided to help, what was his name, I forgot his name, the spiky guy decided to help him, he then was like, oh, so you're aligning with him, so you're an evil person, you're my enemy, and he started going against Koichi. Before that, he was okay with Koichi, because technically Koichi is doing things as a vigilante. He saw him and getting rid of villains, so he was okay with him. Um, but the same thing couldn't be said for Hachisuka, as you can see, because even though he took Hachisuka's help with those things and with the blood thing that he did, he still was pretty antagonistic towards her, because he knows that she's a villain, and she does these type of things, and that's why he was like, oh, I'm just making use of what you're giving me now, but your time will also come. I'll purge you as well. Just to wait. So basically that was what his whole thing was. He was like, yeah, I'm going to use what you give me to take like care of the villains, but then I'll take you out as well. So yeah, you're just down the line. Your name will come later. First, I have a few other things to take care of. Then I'll come to you. Right. So that was basically you know what his whole thing was. Like he just he's okay with people whose sense of justice aligns with him, basically. you know but obviously that is not true justice. Like, you cannot be like that. As that detective said, that vigilantes as a vigilante, you cannot take justice in your own hands. That you're just a criminal. Then that's not really how it works. So yeah. Okay. Right. So yeah, there you go. That was $10 episode. We saw all those things here. And yeah, now let me talk about another character here. The spiky guy. What was his name? Soha or something. Wait a minute. I cannot find his name here. Where the hell is it? Just a minute. Um, Wait, those spikes. Soga. Okay, not Soha. Sorry. Soga. Kugisaki Soha. Soga. Sorry, I'm calling him Soha again. Soga. So Soga. Let's talk about Soga. So Soga's situation is interesting. Not only Soga, but I feel like his other friends as well has also gone through the same things that he has gone through. They should only show Soga as like but I'm pretty sure the other two has faced the same thing that he has faced. So their thing was obviously rejection, which is something that we've seen happen multiple times in My Hero Academia as well. Kids getting rejected by their teachers, by the other students, by the other people, the other kids, because they are a little bit different. Maybe they have a quirk which is more of a villainous type of quirk. Maybe they have something which looks like a villain, or maybe they don't have a quirk. We all know one such example, what happened with Deku. But there were other things as well. Like, as far as I can remember, who was that who faced the same situation? Spinner, right? It was Spinner, right? Who went through the same like rejection by his peers because he looked like the reptile that he he's like his appearance is like a reptile. So as far as I can remember, in My Hero Academia, Spinner also went through all of that. And not only Spinner, a lot of other, like Toga as well. Toga, every single person in the Villains League, they went through some form of rejection from when they were kids. And All for One took advantage of that and brought them in and brainwashed them. And we know what happened in My Hero Academia, obviously. So the same thing these guys also went through. As you can see, when they were kids, you can see literally even the teachers. So can you imagine that? Like your teachers telling you like, oh, look at you, your quirks are like a villain's quirk. What will you be when you grow up? A villain? Like like a funny joke. Like what the hell, man? Like I cannot even imagine how a grown ass man can act like that in front of a kid. Like what is wrong with you? Like what? That is some messed up thing. Like what the hell? Ah, good God. Like like the kids who bullied, like we saw what happened. Like he went through like rejection from his friends as well. For kids, at least you could say that they're kids. They don't know much. They like a lot of kids bully and everything. What is required at that point is for the grown-ups or the adults to step in and be like, no, this is not correct. You shouldn't do something like that. This is incorrect. And that is how kids learn. So at least for the kids bullying him, you can say that they're kids, they don't know much better. You can expect the adults or their parents to at least stop them from doing something like that. But the freaking adults themselves do that. So what can you expect from the kids? You see, the teacher themselves was like, I was baffled at that scene. Like, when the teacher was like, oh, what are you going to become, a villain? You have like, I'm like, bro, that is crazy. Like, imagine as a grown ass man talking like that to a kid. Wow. Like, how much more, like, how much more, like, how much can you fall? Like, that is like some, I joke. And obviously, that is why, like, from a very young age, like Soga and the others faced situations like that. So they are not happy with what's going on. They don't trust people. They've excluded themselves, isolated themselves from society. Anyone who looks at them judge them, and so they themselves became like that. So that's what happened. Now obviously you can say that when what's his name, Koichi came and talked to him, he had a slight misunderstanding because when Koichi was smiling like that, he thought he was looking down on him, because that's how all the other people he meets like do. They laugh at him, sneer at him, look down on him. So that's how he's accustomed to people treating him. So obviously he knows nothing about Koichi. So when he met Koichi, when Koichi was like smiling and like kind of bowing his head, he thought he was also judging him, making fun of him. Same with what's her name? Popstep as well. If Popstep wasn't even smiling, he just thought that Popstep was smiling and making fun of him. Koichi was smiling though, but Koichi's smile came from nervousness. You could see that. He was nervous about the fact that, he didn't know what to do, and he himself has his own troubles. So, that's why he was smiling. That was not like a looking down on you type of smiling. That was a more of a nervousness kind of thing. So, he misunderstood Koichi, and also Popstep's situation. Like, Popstep, I don't remember Popstep laughing at him or sneering at him. So, I think he just imagined that, because of how he looks at other, he doesn't trust people. So that was a slight misunderstanding. But obviously, most of the other people we have met, that he has probably met, smirked at him, sneered at him, judged him because of his quirk, and that's how he's just lost faith from people, and that's why he's a delinquent like this. And that is the reason why people like Hachisuka, they take advantage of that. People like All For One take advantage of that, and sneak into their heart and poison them even more. And that's what happened. That's why he got his hands on the trigger. Hachisuka was waiting for that perfect opportunity, and she was like, oh, perfect person to make, to do this, and provided him with a way to get more power. And we know what happened. We all saw what happened. So there you go. But today's episode, you can see in the end when she was like, oh, I'm going to give the trigger to you to fight. He was like, nah, man, I ain't falling for your bull crap again. You are also using me. So, I'm not going to be using any more drugs. But at the end, Hachisuka ended up using her bees on him. So, yeah, he ended up transforming either way. But still, good thing Koichi came in at the perfect moment. Yeah. And then obviously Knuckle Duster also comes in. Then the battle with Stendhal was pretty damn good. Yeah, that was really good. Can you imagine? This guy has no quirk. This guy has no quirk, and he's beating down villains with quirks. That is crazy. You know what? I love the fact that they made a character like this who actually doesn't have a quirk, and he keeps fighting. And you could say that, yeah, Deku also didn't have any quirk at the beginning, but Deku got a quirk later on. I love the fact that they are keeping this guy just a guy. He doesn't have any quirk, and I think Knuckle Duster will probably be like this for the rest of time, because I don't think he's going to awaken quirk suddenly. He's an old man. Not really old, but at least he's 50, I'm assuming. So in no way is he going to awaken his quirk at this age. I don't think All Might is going to give him his hair to chew on, so that he can, none of that is happening. So I don't think he's ever going to awaken any quirk. That means he's going to stay like this, and he's going to keep pounding villains like this without any quirk, even down the line. Which is, I really appreciate that. I'm really loving the fact that they actually made him without any quirk. And it shows how, you can do anything. All the villains that he have fought, I know, obviously I know, if some crazy ass villain comes in, for example, I don't know, let's think of a very strong villain. Let's just take one of the League of Villains, for example, Shigaraki, for example. Let's check Shigaraki. Oh, I know Shigaraki's not going to come in. He's probably like a little kid now. But I'm just saying, if someone in Shigaraki's caliber suddenly comes in and fights with Knuckle Duster, yeah, obviously Knuckle Duster is going to lose. That's no-brainer, obviously. There's leagues, that type of power, you cannot go against that without any quirk. But, characters like Stendhal, for example, as we saw, and in the previous episode, we saw that big guy, who he uses martial arts to drop. These type of characters who have a quirk, but at the same time, who it is possible to kind of stop them without even while being quirkless. Yeah, I'm loving the fact that he's taking them out himself, and up until now, nobody in this group actually has a significant a strong quirk, but they are pretty techy with it. You can see Koichi, just as we saw, Ingenium gave him tips, and he can now just do his thing. Knuckle doesn't even have any quirk, and he's still defeating villains. with his martial arts. Today we saw when Stendhal came in, he was like, he tricked him into thinking that he's not going to come in front, he's not going to step forward, but like then he stepped forward and just punched him, and that completely threw him off because obviously Stendhal was thinking that, oh yeah, he's standing there, so I'll come up until here and then I'm going to swing. But all that goes down the drain if he steps forward. Like, the reach will change, right? So he did that and it completely threw him off. And I don't know, it just makes it, because even I didn't think he's going to do that. Like, it's a very simple process, like it's a very simple thing that he did. He just stepped forward, but I don't know, the fact that he said that I'm not going to move from here at the beginning probably made us think that, oh yeah, he's not going to step forward. I think Stendhal also thought the same. But Stendhal himself said like, oh, I'm going to leave, but then he didn't leave and he shot forward to attack him. But the funny thing here is that even though he said something and he didn't do it, he ended up breaking it, he didn't think that Knuckle Duster is going to do the same. Because Knuckle Duster said, I'm not going to move from here. If you step forward up before in front of this line, I'm then going to attack you. He did say that, but he never said that he's not going to break that. Just like Stendhal broke what he was going to do. He said, I'm going to leave, but then he started attacking us. Same thing he did. He just stepped forward. Such a simple thing. I didn't think about it. Stendhal also didn't think about it. Like one step, that's it. Completely threw him off and just got a punch in the face. Right. So yeah, that's really good. Like, and obviously Pop Step, Pop Step's quirk is just jumping. So I don't know. I don't think that's that's going to change ever, or maybe she's going to like fine tune it. Maybe, who knows? Like Koichi, we'll see. But what my point is that all these characters you can see, they don't really have any type of significant quirk, but they know what they're best at or what they can do properly, and they just stick to that. Like Koichi, for example, as you can see, like these type of maneuvers and everything, he does all of that. Knuckle Duster just punches people. We see that. Pop Step helps in a more of a support way, where she calls when put the police when necessary. She helps in providing the first aid and everything. When Koichi is in trouble, she goes and brings it to what's his name? Knuckle Duster's brings Knuckle Duster in. All these things she does. She's more of like the support type of a character. So each of them, even though they're not really strong in that sense, except this freaking guy, Knuckle Duster is pretty damn strong, but he doesn't even have a quirk. Even though that's the case, as a team they're doing pretty damn well, because they know what they can do and they just stick to it, and they do it perfectly. But I do personally think that Koichi's quirk is going to get stronger, because I don't know, not stronger in that sense, but I feel like he'll realize that he can use his quirks in way more interesting ways. Because as far as I can remember, he said that his quirk is like giving something like a force field out that can let him float or something. I don't know, I don't remember. He said something along those lines. And that's when Ingenium kind of told him that, oh, you can do this to fine tune it. I feel like he'll probably, as time goes, he'll probably realize more and more interesting ways to use his quirk, which will probably make him automatically get stronger. I'm not sure about Pop Step though. I feel like Pop Step might also go through a similar thing, where she might also find better ways of using her quirk, even though her quirk is just like an extra jump. I feel like she might find better ways to use it. So she might also kind of, get better as down the line. And Knuckle Duster is just Knuckle Duster. He's just good at it. As from the, he has fine tuned his craft up as we see him. He's already done it. He's reached that level, I feel like. But even without a quirk, he's so damn strong. So yeah, there you go. And yeah, in the end, you can see Stendhal is like, yeah, just right, that whole section. Good thing in the end, Soga realized that not all people are like what he thought, when he was like, what the hell is wrong with this guy, this kid. and Popster was like, oh, he's just an idiot. He realized that Popster likes him, obviously, from her expression, but at the same time he also realized that, yeah, maybe not all the person that I think look at us antagonistically. There are people like this as well, so yeah, that'll probably, I don't know, make him more accepting of society, because not all people are against him. He realized that. And we're just talking about Soha. The other two as well, I'm pretty sure they also went through something similar, because one of the other guys is like a lizard, the other dude is like can bring out fire. So I feel like they also faced the same type of um like situation in society as well, and they also got rejected. So yeah. And there you go. That was today's episode. That was a good episode. Now let me talk about this episode scene by scene. I think I talked about most of the stuff. So let me just quickly go through the episode and see if I missed anything. First section, we get to see those yakuza. Those yakuzas were, talking about how, um, nowadays like they're going to be like listed as villains, so they're not happy about it. But later on, we see even before anything happens, Stendhal comes in and just takes them out. And this is where we see that Stendhal was using the band-aids. Like, wait a minute. What was that? I don't understand what that was. He was using band-aids to. Oh, I think he was. Yeah, so he used the band-aids to get their blood and then lick the band-aids. I see. So that's what he was doing. Like, I didn't understand what he was doing at the beginning. Like, since he had those band-aids there, I guess somehow he was able to get the blood samples from each of them, and then he licked it and stopped them, I guess. That's what he did, right? Yeah. Um, and all of them stopped using. Stopped them using blood curdle and took them out. And and after that, oh, Hatsuka herself says it in the end. She got the blood samples from them going to take regular routine checkups. Right, okay, that makes sense. Like, I was like, how did he get those blood samples? Yeah, later, okay, I forgot about that section. Yeah, Hatsuka herself kind of explains it what she did. So basically, they went to take routine checkups, like, like probably took their blood for like testing and everything. Normal routine checkup, like health checkup. And Hatsuka got her hands on them and gave those blood samples to Stendhal so that he could use them. Right. And yeah, in the end, Stendhal was like, oh, don't you get ahead of yourself. You're also a villain. I'll take you out later. But for now, I'm going to use what I can. There we go. But until then, vermin who feed other vermin have their value. Right. So he himself knows that he's also pretty damn bad. Like, he calls himself as vermin as well. But he knows he knows what he's doing is wrong. But at the same time, he's like, yeah, I will be the trash that take out other trash. So that type of like mentality. Um. Okay. Then after that, we get to meet Soga, and his friends are like, one of his friends was hospitalized, and they were like talking and everything, and they talk about Trigger here, and they were like, oh, will you be using Trigger again? And the lizard was like, nah, man, like, are you crazy? I I used that and I was hospitalized. Ain't no way I'm using that again. Right. So all that stuff, and then later on we can see Soga come in contact with Hatsuka, and this is where obviously Hatsuka like baited him out, and Stendhal came in, and yeah, he started attacking Soga. And this is where Soga realized that Hatsuka is also the same. She's literally using him for her benefit, and that's why he like just slapped away the trigger, and he was like, I'm not going to fall for your tricks again. Right, but Hatsuka doesn't care, as we saw. Hatsuka used her beads to just put the trigger in him, nonetheless. And yeah, and then this is also where we get to see the flashback of him and obviously his friends as well getting this, as a kid, them getting bullied, them getting isolated from society just because their quirks were a little bit different. And and how people just jump to conclusions and like that, and that's why he lost all faith in humanity. um and he also misunderstood Koichi's, like when Koichi was like smiling, he thought that he was making fun of him. Okay. And then we have Koichi come in at the perfect moment, and he stops them from fighting. At first, Koichi didn't realize that Stendhal was actually going to kill him. So then when Stendhal starts attacking him like with his katana, he's like, "Oh, this is not what I think it was going to go in this direction." So then Koichi's like, "Alright, I'm going to save him. It doesn't matter if he's a villain or whatever. Like, yeah, you cannot kill someone like that." So he goes, stops Stendhal, and this is the moment when Stendhal was like, "Oh, so you're helping that villain? So you're also a villain. I'm going to take you out as well." So Koichi starts using his quirk, or he couldn't really use his quirk at the beginning because he was like carrying him. But then when he gets stabbed in the leg and he falls flat on the ground, he realized that, oh, I can just use my quirk like this. So he starts sliding away from there. But in the end, he wasn't able to get out of the alleyway. If he was able to get out of the alleyway, people would be there. They would see him. Stendhal would probably like run away, but he couldn't. Before that, he was stopped by Stendhal, and yeah, he was going to get attacked. But then in comes Knuckle Duster, and I'm pretty sure Popstep was probably the one who saw this and informed him. I don't know, something like that, maybe. Because, or maybe like Knuckle Duster was already here, like just looking for Koichi or something. Like they go on patrol, like as far as I understand, they go on patrol individually. So I'm guessing he was probably passing by and he realized what happened. Came in, and this is where, and at first you can see Stendhal was like, "Oh, like Knuckle Duster," and then he's like, "Okay, you know what? I'm not going to mess with you." He knows Knuckle Duster is pretty damn good, even though he doesn't have a quirk. But anyways, this is where he was like, "Oh, we both are vigilantes. Our goal is the same." And Knuckles said, "No, our goal is not the same. You are doing something completely different. You're doing this for your own." Where's that part? Where's that part? Oh, here we go. I'm a badass hero of justice, while you are just a crazy slasher. So yeah. Right. Anyways, it's kind of funny because like he says that, but at the same time, he's also the one who ends up beating up people on the street because he's trying to find whether who is using trigger. Like, yeah, well, but you could say that he's at least not killing them. Like, unlike Stain, who's just Stendhal just killing villains willy nilly. Right. So, anyways, there you go. And then you can see Stendhal was like calculating. He's like, "Oh, if I go and try to attack him, he can dodge and then he can come forward and attack me. But if he comes forward before, then I can attack him." Like he was thinking. So he was not taking the first move because he knew that if he takes the first move, he can dodge and then counter attack. Like he'll definitely do that and that it'll be over. So he goes back, and before that, you can see like Knuckle Duster uses the wire, puts the wire, and he's like, "Oh, if you come in front of this, it's my territory. I'm going to punch you. So you better watch your thing." So Stendhal is like, "Okay, I'll leave." Tries to leave, but then he's like, "Nah, I'm not going to leave," and he just moves forward, and he's like, "Yeah, I can take him out. With my speed, I can take him out." But never in his head did he think that he's going to break his rule that he created himself and step forward. And he literally stepped forward, and which completely threw him off because he had an idea. He was like, "Yeah, I'm going to go up until there and then I'm going to slash." But as soon as he came forward, the range changed. So he couldn't stop himself, gets punched in the face. And yeah, his whole mask breaks and everything. And this is where I realized he's Stain, because I saw his face missing a nose and everything. I'm like, "Oh my god, this is Stain." But yeah, like I said, I completely forgot what Stain's quirk was, so it took me so long to understand that this is Stain. Like, I had an inkling, but I couldn't properly be sure. Because I completely forgot what his quirk was in My Hero Academia. Like, yeah. Anyways, so yeah, there you go. He gets punched. And when coach is like, "What the hell you said?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I said that if he comes in front, I'll punch. Did I say anything about me not going in front? Obviously not." And like, this is the thing. Like, I feel like this is like a little bit of a curveball. Usually characters like this, like Knuckle Duster, they're usually like all brawn and no brain. This guy is a big exception. I've been seeing throughout these few episodes, not only is he strong, he actually he's very intelligent as well. Like, Knuckle Duster I'm talking about. Like, like he knows what to do in certain situations. And yeah, I guess you need everything if you have to survive in a world where quirks literally dominate everything. To survive and go head to head with villains who have quirks and you are quirkless, you need brain, you need brawn, you need everything. And this guy has it all. Like, not only is he strong, he's pretty intelligent. He knows how to trick the opponent and completely change the whole thing into his advantage. And that's what he did. He threw the wire because he knew that Stain's like main focus will be in the wire, and he'll immediately be like, okay, he'll start like comparing like the range and everything, looking at the wire. He knew that immediately. That's why he threw the wire, because if he didn't throw the wire, Stain would look at him and gauge the distance and act accordingly. His plan won't work there, because Stain would be ready. If he steps forward, he could easily counter him. So by throwing down the wire, he realized his focus will be on the wire, and he'll attack him based on where the wire is, so that he can literally counterattack and change the whole. Yeah, that was brilliant actually, because like I said, even I didn't expect this. Like, my focus was also on the wire. Like when he said that, oh, don't come in front of the, like, step, step ahead of the wire. So that was very intelligent. Like, I was very impressed by that. Because he took our attention away from what was important and counterattacked based on that. Anyways, later on, Stain starts fighting him. Okay. So in the end, he slashes him, Knuckle Duster, licks the blood, and Knuckle Duster couldn't move, and then he leaves, as you can see. This part. Okay. Even more wicked than villains are those without resolve, who pretend and sham heroes. Yep, and he licked the blood. Knuckle Duster couldn't move. Yes, it's so true. I've been enlightened. I appreciate you showing me the way. And he leaves. Okay, and then Popstep comes in, starts giving first aid, and Soga's like, what the hell is this? Like, what is wrong with this guy? Why did he save me? And then Popstep's like, oh, he's just an idiot, Right, and he's like, oh, okay, well. Like I said, Soga realized that not all person is like that, like how he expected them to be. After that, we can see Stain just going crazy, and then when Hachisuka was telling him that, oh, like, can you help me out? Where's that part? Oh no, she was talking about like his resolve and all that. Right, and Stain just throws the knife, and it's just stuck in her eyes. Yeah, and I'm like, okay, she's fine, because underneath that eye patch, there's probably something which from where the bees come out. We literally saw that bee go inside. Like, I don't know what is inside that, underneath that eye patch, but it's probably a big gaping hole where the the insects go in. Kind of thinking about it's kind of disgusting. Like, can you imagine that? Oh my god. But yeah, I was like, she's fine. Like, yeah, and as we saw, like, the bees were the one who shielded her from that. Anyways, in the end, Stain is like, okay, my mask is broken. My mask of vantage is broken, but it is fine. I discard my false faith, and this time I behold the truth of this world with uncovered eyes. Yeah, and he keeps walking, and he says, like, where's that part? Action without existence, a color that dyes the world. And it's like bleeding. The blood I shed, the blood I bleed, is proof of its. I have no idea what he's talking about, actually. Like, he's just saying stuff. I genuinely don't understand what he's trying to say here. Maybe if I really think about it, maybe I'll understand the deeper meaning behind what he's saying. But since I'm not really focusing that much, It just seems like he's just stringing some words. Behind me a path remains. Right. Indelible blood stains that show the way. Yeah, I guess that's what he calls himself, stain. Like, like the blood stain or the, yeah, something like that. Anyways, yeah, that's where it ended. So we have Stain literally on our back now. He'll try to attack us later on. But yeah, there you go. Not only are we going to get into trouble with villains, we are already in trouble with this guy as well. So that's fantastic. Stain is probably very dangerous. Like, he's definitely very dangerous. We saw him in My Hero Academia. What he can do. So yeah, I think he's like the first big threat that we have actually faced. So yeah, let's see how this goes. So that is it. That was my reaction to episode number 6 of My Hero Academia Vigilante. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to press the like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, or you haven't subscribed, comment down below. Anything you want to say, anything you want to let me know, I'll check them out. And that is it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next week with another episode of My Hero Academia. Until Vigilantes. Until then, goodbye and have a nice day.